And the group stage is complete at AFCON, guys. Welcome back to the Africans. We're doing our day 12 recap. And not many goals to talk about, to be very honest. One goal scored in that Morocco Zambia matchup, but we do have clarity now, finally. And we finally do have our round of 16 matchups, which some sides of the bracket look very tantalizing, and other sides look very intriguing, to be honest. So, guys, the drill, hit that button, hit that subscribe, leave your comments down below. Which round of 16 matchup intrigues you the most? I'm not going to take more of your time. Let's jump into it. So we have a round of 16, which is set. And here are the matchups. We have on the top of our bracket, we'll start up here, Angola versus Namibia. The Namibians made it through that Saturday noon interesting matchup in play of Nigeria Cameroon. That will be a very interesting matchup, I think. Looking into it, you see that Nigeria Cameroon matchup that's tantalizing itself, and versus Namibia. I think two teams here who can really prove well. Angola proving that they can hold away, even with the strongest side. Namibia has proven to be dangerous enough and compact enough that I think they can cause a little bit of frustration. I'm looking forward to this. The matchups I'm more interested in is the second section of this bracket here in round 16. Cape Verde versus Mauritania. Mauritania is looking very interesting. Got the victory that kept Algeria out, but then Cape Verde topping the group. And I think the winner of that facing off against the winner of Morocco and South Africa. That to me, if there's a section in this competition I'll be watching just because I'm very much intrigued, it's this. Morocco looks like they might have an easy pathway to the semis, but you cannot take any team lightly. Morocco won't have their coach for the next 3 games, so they won't have their coach even if they reach the finals here. So it'll be interesting to see how they play. But they did play a little bit more open in their game today versus Zambia. So I do wonder if a different style of play will suit them better, especially against the South African team who survived yet punished the teams that they played in the group stage. Weren't able to always look well defensively, but they were able to finish their chances versus their teams, and this is why they're in the round of 16. Then we move to the bottom half. The Equatorial Guinea versus Guinea. This is intriguing. This is exciting for me. I think it'll look out and work out very well overall. Equatorial Guinea, the big surprise of this tournament so far. Guinea, I think, playing well, finishing where they finished in the group. I'm not surprised really where I see who this Equatorial Guinea taking this because they're playing with such confidence. But Guinea, oof, you can never count out the Guineans. Then you have Egypt, who survived and made it through. Help of Ghana's bottle job versus Mozambique against DR Congo. A very interesting matchup in terms of teams that are playing well. No Salah here. So I do wonder if DR Congo can get past Egypt. Mustafa Mohammed has been playing well in this tournament, but I think I'll still give that edge to them. But we'll see how it goes. And then the bottom section. This is where it's nothing but names. Senegal versus Ivory Coast, the hosts make it through. Mali versus Burkina Faso, which sets up the possibility of any of these 4 teams playing is very much intriguing. I love any of these matchups, to be perfectly honest. And they look good because in the semis, look, you could have a Senegal versus either Mali or Burkina Faso or Cote d'Ivoire versus Mali or Burkina Faso. So it could be very interesting in terms of what they decide, what they're able to do, but they all have some time to rest. No games tomorrow, no games on Friday. Round of 16 begins on Saturday. So with that being the case, it is very curious to me to see what matchups and what things will be very curious for you and what you will see and what's exciting for you here. But let's talk a little bit, guys, the matchups that were today. Let's talk about the matchups that were today and what happened, how we got to where we got. So again, we were down to groups E's and F, and you needed teams that have good results. If not, games would end terribly for them. You needed, again, as we said yesterday, you had Burkina Faso. It was in a good spot, but Mali, Tunisia, Namibia needed a win, and Zambia, more importantly, needed the win moving forward because without that, then they would find themselves in a tough spot because if not, they'd be eliminated. And the only team that lost was the team that couldn't afford to lose, which was Zambia, losing 1-0 to Morocco with Hakim Ziyech coming in and scoring in the first half. I think it was like the 30th or so minute. So what this now opens up, and the rest of the games were all draws, right? Hakim Ziyech in the 37th minute is where the game went through. So all those games were draws, and the way that this game went really much more open than what we are used. Again, Morocco is that team that can play pragmatically. If they need to play defensively, they'll play that way. If they're going to play offensively, they'll play that way. But if you look at the stats here, this was a Morocco game where you saw them try to put this game away and really secure the spot. I mean, according to Google, you have the stats here: 19 shots, 4 versus 11, 7 on target versus 2, basically 60-40 possession, which doesn't say the whole story, but it does give you an idea of how this game was played. Zambia definitely had their opportunities, but I mean, looking at the corners, look at the fouls committed. Morocco had a lot of fouls, probably to break up a lot of some countering activities going on. But this was the only goal that was scored, and because of that, Zambia needed a result because if not, they would be on the outside looking in. Because of that, they now find themselves on the outside looking in based off of this. Not much to really talk about today, but now kind of, and we'll go into this a little bit tomorrow as well. But who are you looking at and thinking look the best entering this round of 16? To me, I think it's Senegal looks the best. If I had to pick based off of their form in the group rounds, group stages, I would say Senegal is definitely that team right now. They look the best based off of their play. They went 9 up, 9 down. And I think being able to get those victories and those wins matter. If I had to choose a couple other teams that could do something just based off of their play, the problem is now we get into names that we're not used to saying in these parts, but you have to give them their credit for how they're playing. And those teams would be Capo Verde as well as the likes of Equatorial Guinea. Now, do I expect Equatorial Guinea to make it through? No, because even if they do make it past, they'd have to play Egypt or Congo if they get past Guinea, and that'll be a tough matchup. And if they could do that, then in the semis, they'll face whoever survives that quartet of Senegal, Ivory Coast, Mali, or Burkina Faso. I think at some point they'll run into a team that is a little bit more talented than them, and then that's going to leave it where it is, and they're able to go. But how they're playing, you cannot count them out based off of the abilities and the players and just the over the overall the overall form that they're in. The other team would be Cape Verde. I think Cape Verde has an interesting matchup because in terms of possession style, they can play a style which I think matches up well with Morocco, assuming they make it there in that round of 8, right? The quarterfinal round. If they get there, as we showed you a little bit beforehand, and we'll go here, we'll show you again one more time. Cape Verde is an interesting matchup here because if they get past Mauritania, they'll play the winner of South Africa, Morocco. And I think either of these teams, they can play a suitable style against that team. And I think in doing so, that opens a door up for maybe they can make it past. It'd be a big shock if Cape Verde made it past Morocco in the semis, if that's the matchup you're looking at. Outside of that, I mean, look at the top bracket. Nigeria versus Cameroon, the winner of that, you expect them to be the favorites over the winner of Angola and Namibia. But you can't really trust Nigeria or Cameroon right now based off how they're playing. The only difference is Cameroon has been able to put away their chances at a better clip than Nigeria, but they both sides have been wasteful, in my opinion, here. So do I trust a team that's scoring goals or a team that's creating chances? Well, chance isn't always guaranteed. And so I like to look at teams that are actually bearing their chances. And I think because of that, I might favor Cameroon to get out. But this top bracket here, this looks like an if they get this right, the winner of this, based off how they look on paper, of course, you have to play the game. Based on how they've looked, it wouldn't surprise me if the winner of Nigeria Cameroon makes it to the semis. In the same breath, it wouldn't surprise me if they just bow out in an excruciating fashion in the quarterfinals. Right? Look at this third bracket here, the Guineas and DR Congo. This is low-key interesting because we can see DR Congo take out Egypt in the round of 16. It is very possible, but Egypt has shown when the level has required it, they've risen up to that level of passion and not even desperation, but passion, but you see them playing with that sense of urgency. So I'm thinking around the 16, they will be able to raise up to that level, and they're a team which comes with the pedigree that are able to do it. Equatorial Guinea is a team that right now are playing with house money. They can do what they want because effectively it's worked for them here, and they've been able to score the goals. They took the host down and were able to punish them at the end after a lot of chances missed as well. And then the last bracket is probably the toughest bracket, but you want to rest on the laurels of form. Senegal right now probably playing one of the best, if not the best, on the continent right now. Ivory Coast are the host. You can never count the host. Could they prove the upset of the tournament and eliminate the champions? It is very possible. Then you have Mali and Burkina Faso. Mali's been playing well as well. So again, all these pathways are very interesting and curious. But in terms of, I won't always pick the favorites, but who has an interesting pathway? I think Senegal makes the semis. I think their pathway here may be more difficult than any of the other teams going through. So if you see Senegal in the semis, I think for me, I would look and say, well, I was going to take away. But these deep runs, you always have a team here that makes a deep run that you don't expect, right? When we look at the teams that were surprised to be here, Equatorial Guinea, Capo Verde, I think it's Cape Verde who has the best chance to make that deep, surprising AFCON run that we know. We saw Madagascar do, we saw Zambia do in the past. But I think right now, those are the things that I think will go. So I think Cape Verde has the best chance to have that deep run. So on the rewatch, guys, in the comments below, let me know. These are the questions. What's your most interesting matchup of in the round of 16? And who is your deep run team? I'm putting my money because I've been always saying Cape Verde for the last 4 years. Cape Verde is my team for this. Who is the team you expect to make a deep run in this, whether that's to the semifinals? Who can make a surprise run to the semifinals in that Cinderella, as they say, run going through, guys? A short episode because there weren't that many goals. We have our matchups. We'll be having some more content with this moving on. And guys, thank you so much for stopping by. This has been a question from the Africans.